Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment with your hosts, Joe and Ryan.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Yeah, I'm Joe Wakefield.
And I am Ryan Lang.
Hey guys, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, what we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy. Sometimes we do cryptozoology or some haunting or maybe a different dimension, but it's always spooky. Then we have a section called Ryan's Disclosure Discussion. It's all about aliens.
I'm just asking questions. I'm going to talk about UFO videos, what the government has disclosed, what are they hiding, what reports have come out. Today we are going to talk about Dr. Greer's new website, all about a ton of archives of UFO stories. It's amazing.
Excellent. And then the latter half of the show is dedicated to the entertainment industry. Sometimes that means celebrity deaths. Sometimes we have stories about music. We have headlines of new movies, casting announcements. Maybe we'll play a trivia game, but it's all entertainment. And those two sections together is Earthling Entertainment. We got the spooky, we got the pop culture, and welcome.
Welcome indeed.
Man. So, speaking of pop culture, coming up this weekend is the Comic-Con. It's the Detroit Comic-Con. It's Motor City Comic-Con.
Woo!
And I'm super excited. But, last Wednesday, the day after we recorded the show, the last one, I had surgery. And it was not a big deal, just fixing a hernia. But the recovery is a thing. And for some reason in my head, I didn't think about that at all. And now I'm like, all right, I'm going to walk around a convention with a little bit of some stitches still in.
I've been watching Joe come around as we've been setting up, and looks like it's a little painful crouching down, but you're getting around pretty good, buddy.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. It was just rough because there was no one to help because my wife went off to work on Monday. So 5 days after my surgery, I'm by myself with the baby, which isn't a big deal, but like picking him up, putting him down, changing diapers, it wears you out when you you got this band around your stomach.
Yes, sir. Yes, it does. I went through the old hernia surgery myself just last year.
All right, guys. So the key is don't get older.
Yeah,
Stay. Yeah. I think 30 is a cap because there's actually 35 between 30 and 40, I'd say, is when you should stop because your 20s are great, but you need a little bit of wisdom, but you want to just, stop right before you start falling apart. And that depends on how you've lived your life, whether it's going to be 30 or 40.
Or whether or not you can choose to stop aging.
You can totally choose to stop aging, man. It's just, look at Paul Rudd, and there are a few other people.
That's
they figure it out. Tom Cruise, you know how old Tom Cruise is?
Isn't he? He's knocking on 70, isn't he?
No, he's not knocking on 70.
He's
but
in his 60s,
he's
right?
61.
Okay,
yeah, but
early
still,
60s.
Yeah, come on, man. That. I guess it helps having a lot of money and a nutritionist.
And being slightly insane.
Ooh.
He is.
If being insane is a factor, I am good. I'm going to be young forever.
Just convince yourself that you are. And then you
We've
don't have to worry about it.
It's called manifesting.
That's right.
Okay. But yeah, Comic-Con's going to be a blast. Walking around, doing the panels, seeing the celebrities, buying the things you don't need to buy. That collectible that you really want and you have a perfect space on your wall. Then you come home and realize you don't actually have any space. And you have to start now displaying your items on the ceiling.
No regrets.
Yeah.
No regrets. Oh, I know I'm going to spend stupid money there. I'm bringing my kids, bringing my girlfriend. So I know I'm going to get something for me, probably something for her, something for the kids. So I'm going to do my part.
Here's the key for the girlfriend I would suggest is they have they're like mystery boxes. Do you remember Loot Crate back in the day?
Yeah.
Where you got like a box mailed to you once a month. Well, this is like, it's a theme. It's like, let's say it's Tim Burton, or let's say it's Ninja Turtles or My Little Pony or whatever it is. And it's 60 to like $150 depending on the size of the box you get. And inside is just all different things. Maybe a shirt, maybe a pair of socks, maybe a radio, maybe a lanyard, maybe a mask, something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they're collectible, they're exclusive. So it is kind of fun. So like I get horror movie or I get Ninja Turtles, and I got for a Ninja Turtle one, I got concert tickets. Now they're fake concert tickets, but concert tickets to the Ninja Turtles tour
Yes,
doesn't
coming out
actually.
of our shells.
No, the fictional tour from the actual show.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that would have been cooler if they did the throwback to like coming out of our
coming
shells.
out of our shells.
Skipping stones. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, pop culture references is the lifeblood of the show, and that and really crazy, spooky cryptozoology stuff.
It is a part of the
And
show.
Ghost.
Yes, and that part is called spooky stuff.
Yeah, do you think you want to jump into spooky stuff? I could go for some spooky stuff.
I could go for some spooky.
All right, guys, get ready for spooky stuff.
The Ozark Howler. Deep within the dense forests and rugged hills of the Ozark Mountains in the United States lies a creature of mystery and intrigue, known as the Ozark Howler. This enigmatic cryptid, shrouded in local folklore and sightings, has captivated the imaginations of residents and cryptid enthusiasts alike for generations. With its distinctive features and eerie howls, the Ozark Howler has become a legendary creature of the Ozark region. The Ozark Howler's legend has its roots in the rich folklore and oral traditions of the Ozark Mountains, stretching across Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Tales of a fearsome creature with dark, shaggy fur and terrifying red eyes have been passed down through generations in these rural communities. Early accounts of the Ozark Howler describe it as a formidable beast, instilling fear in those who crossed its path.
I kind of imagine it. It kind of looks like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's got horns.
It's a little shaggier. It's got some horns. The howling kind of implies a dog, but I think it might be part cat. I don't know.
It's got a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Descriptions of the Ozark Howler's appearance vary, but some consistent features have been merged from eyewitness accounts and local stories. The creature is typically described as being large and bear-like, with dark, shaggy fur covering its body. Its most distinctive and haunting feature is its glowing red eyes, which are said to pierce through the darkness of the Ozark forests.
Yeah, you got to watch out for glowing red eyes. We talked about this before. Red eyes just showing up in the dark, nightmare fuel.
Well, because you know that they can see and you cannot.
That's true. But what if they can't? What if they're just staring off in that direction? Like if we were to turn on the lights, they're just taking a piss in a bush. And they're just like looking forward like you would at a urinal.
And they're just like, I wish my eyes didn't glow. They don't even do anything for me. They just show me in the night when I'm trying to take a leak.
Yes.
Like, what the hell?
This is terrible. I'm actually blind. I don't know what's happening at all.
My condition is terrible.
Witnesses often recount the creature's eerie howls, which are said to be blood-curdling and unlike any other known animal in the region.
Okay. Well, that's good, because if it sounded like a wolf, then you'd be like, oh, yeah, it's just a weird wolf. So, yeah, it has to be unique.
Yeah, obviously, and it's got these horns, evidently. I'm surprised they haven't mentioned that, because that's what we're seeing in the images here. The Ozark Howler falls into the category of cryptids, creatures that are believed to exist based on anecdotal evidence and folklore but lack scientific confirmation. Cryptids such as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and the Chupacabra have captured the public's fascination and sparked numerous investigations over the years. Like these other cryptids, the Ozark Howler has become a subject of interest for cryptozoologists and amateur researchers seeking to unravel its mystery.
Unravel the mystery of the cryptid. That sounds like some old show from the 70s. I imagine it black and white, so maybe 60s, like a Twilight Zone feel. But you got to get the 1920s announcer. Like, in the year 2022, we had a cryptid. His name was Charles. He was the Ozark Howler. He ran around waking people up. He had horns, but no one talked about the horns. Yet all the pictures showed the horns.
He was very misunderstood.
Yes. Strangely, he liked tuna, only canned. Very hard to open when you only have hands. No can opener.
Does anyone have a can opener?
Ah, shit.
Damn it. The Ozark Howler falls... Oh, sorry. That's where I left off. Sightings and encounters with the Ozark Howler have been reported by numerous individuals over the years, adding to the mystery and intrigue surrounding this cryptid creature. While the accounts vary in detail, they often share common themes that paint a picture of a fearsome and elusive beast roaming the remote wilderness of the Ozark Mountains.
He's quite elusive. I haven't seen him at all. I just know he's there. I feel him. Kind of like the spirit.
Kind of like the spirit of Ozark.
Oh, the mountain man who come to suck our souls out through our nose.
Amen.
His name was Darren.
Like I said, he was very misunderstood. Very.
No, not the monster. The guy who's sucking souls out of his nose.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on. This is part of the mythology, man.
Darren.
Darren.
All right. Well, Darren, I think, got left out of this report.
Excellent.
A recurring feature of the Ozark Howler sightings is the creature's striking red eyes. Witnesses describe them as glowing orbs that pierce through the darkness of the night.
And the soul.
The eyes are often a primary identifier of the creature, instilling fear in those who have encountered it.
Those black eyes like a doll's eyes.
Red eyes, really bright eyes. Doesn't make no damn sense eyes. What the hell's going on with them eyes?
Additionally, many witness reports hear eerie howls that are said to be unlike any other known animal in the region. The howls are described as blood-curdling and haunting, adding to the creature's mystique. I just like the word mystique.
Yeah.
Consistent with local legends and folklore, most accounts describe the Ozark Howler as a large bear. Oh, wait, did I read this? This sounds really familiar. No, I didn't read this. As a large bear-like creature with dark, shaggy fur covering its body, some liken its size to that of a black bear, while others describe it as larger, more resembling a mountain lion or a panther, which is terrifying to me because mountain lions are absolutely petrifying.
Yeah, and a panther's scary too. But that's kind of what I was saying. It's the Ozark Howler. I think it's part cat, right?
Yeah.
And it does to me just the burly way they're talking about it being like a bear and then part panther. Like I said, it's the beast from Beauty and the Beast. That is just my idea of this thing, which would be scary to come across.
It's kind of, yeah.
I guess unless it took you to a fancy mansion and it had a bunch of utensils that were singing to you, then that shit would be magical and you'd be Stockholmed and next thing you know, you'd be married to the thing. I don't know if bestiality's legal, but there you go. Kansas.
I'm really,
Ozarks.
I'm really a man deep down, so it's okay. It's okay.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
She almost looked disappointed in the car. I remember in the cartoon, like when he turned into a guy, like her first look is almost like, oh damn, I really wanted to know what that was like.
Oh,
I think she wanted to hit it when he was a beast. I think
that is a very crude interpretation. But what if you are on
just asking questions?
Just asking questions. But what if you are on something? Can you imagine like if it was a situation where you were get the true love and they are transforming into their true self, and then it's just like, oh, you're a redhead.
that would be like Shrek being like, ew.
Yeah, like
With Fiona Chair.
if I wanted an ogre, I was hoping I'd have the human. What the hell?
Oh my god.
I'm just saying, like, what if it just transforms and it's just like this really, really hideous person with like a lacy eye, and they're like, "Hello," and you're like,
Oh god, no.
Oh, I mean, what's important is the heart. What's in your soul. Don't misunderstand. But damn, the rapper's ripped and dirty.
Like, my god, there's a limit.
Oh.
All right.
But I like how you just jumped to bestiality. It's fine.
Well, you mentioned it first.
I mentioned Beauty and the Beast of this.
And you said you didn't know if bestiality was a thing or not. And I said, well, it kind of looked to me like she was disappointed. So I was jumping on what you said, sir.
All right, fair enough.
Ha ha.
Moving on.
Encounters with the Ozark Howler are often brief and fleeting and hopefully not sexual, leading witnesses
That's what we call a one-night stand.
leading the witnesses to describe the creature as stealthy and elusive and sexy. It is said to move, I'm sorry. It is said to move swiftly through the forest, making it challenging to observe or track. The Ozark Howler is primarily reported to be nocturnal, with the majority of the sightings occurring during the twilight hours or in the dead of night.
Usually sneaking out of top bedroom windows.
So, I'm just saying, it's suggestive. That's inappropriate, Ozark Howler. That is inappropriate behavior. This behavior aligns with the creature's legend as a creature of darkness and inappropriate action. Sorry, I'm done. No,
Can't go to work. Ozark Howler's gonna come and fuck your wife.
Well, you hate to see it. Yeah, I hate to see it. It's
the only episode that's gonna be mature.
We'll make a mark on it. In some cases, sightings of the Ozark Howler have been reported by multiple witnesses simultaneously or by separate individuals in the same area, kind of like some of our UFO stories we've covered.
Yep.
That
makes sense, though. If there's a big beast and there's more than one person around, it makes sense if everyone saw him.
And I think that brings a lot more validity to this, actually, in a way.
Sure.
These collective accounts lend credibility to the possibility of a real creature behind the legend. While there are common features in most accounts, there are also variations in the descriptions of the Ozark Howler. Some witnesses may describe its size or fur color differently, while others may perceive its eyes and howls in various ways. These variations are not uncommon in cryptid sightings and may be influenced by environmental factors or individual perceptions.
Yeah, also, do you have the same voice as me? Okay, so if there's maybe the Howler has there's more than one and they sound a little different. Like they're, the same howl, but like different pitch.
Like maybe they're interdimensional. We've talked about this before. Could be an interdimensional creature. Maybe they're intelligent in a way that we don't understand. And
well, the interdimensional thing would make sense if they were phasing in and out, right? Like, we're vibrating at a certain frequency, they're vibrating at a certain frequency. Occasionally it lines up and then you cross paths, and that's why you see ghosts or cryptids. They're from another dimension or blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And that totally could be a reason why, for a lot of cryptids, that's why you don't see a lot of them. But also, I never understood why this idea that there was one. Like, there's one Nessie, there's one Ozark Howler. Be like, all right, if it's a creature, there's probably more than one because, that's how things are made.
The Ozark Highlander. There could be only one.
There can only be one Howler. And he's gonna come and fuck your wife.
My God. He did it again.
Son of a...
My God. Woo!
Well, he is horny.
He's...
Because he's got horns.
But it's still not mentioned, but it's in every photo. Every photo he has horns. He's horny.
All right, so that is something that we should mention then. Yeah. Guys, if you Google the Ozark Howler, it's depicted with horns. And yet, we've yet to hear someone describe it with horns.
This kind of looks like a
Which
jackalope.
is why it leads us to it being a promiscuous little devil.
And that straight up looks like a cat.
Yeah, that one does look like a cat.
And honestly, mountain lions are petrifying. You've ever seen one in the wild?
I have not seen one in the wild, but I usually don't go many places where mountain lions could get me. I mean, I guess in LA I was in a few places, but I never really, I don't hang out in the woods, bud. Or the mountains, I should say.
Honestly, that would be the scariest thing ever to me, honestly. Like, I feel like with a mountain lion, if you see it, you're already dead because that thing has stalked you, and if it's willing to be seen, it's on its way. Like, I don't know, man. Remember that video of the dude backing up down the trail, and he's like, get back, and this thing just kept swiping at him and shit?
Yeah, I mean, if I could go my whole life without being hunted by man or beast, I will call it a win.
Win-win.
Win-win. All right, let's talk more about this sexy howler.
This predator.
Oh, no.
Several theories.
I didn't know we got into the entertainment section.
Oh, buzzy. Several theories have been put forth to explain the Ozark Howler sightings. Some suggest that the creature may be a surviving species of an extinct large animal, such as a prehistoric bear, or a relict population of a large cat like a panther.
Honestly, I think that's the most likely. From all the things I've read, I think it's most likely a cat.
I'm leaning towards that as well. Others propose that the Ozark Howler could be a hybrid or an undiscovered species of known animal with unusual characteristics, such as a melanistic, all-black mountain lion.
I mean, that would be really cool.
That would be really cool to look at in an enclosure where I am far away and safe. Another explanation leans toward a psychological phenomenon known as cryptozoological misidentifications, where witnesses may mistake known animals or natural occurrences for cryptids due to the influence of preconceived notions or heightened emotions.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you really, really want to see a UFO and you're out in the desert to see a UFO, and then there's a plane with some weird lights because,
Happens to me all the time.
yeah, you might be like, oh, oh, oh. And, I get that, especially if you actually do see in this one misidentification of a normal mountain lion. Like, what if that normal mountain lion was covered in mud or something? You see it and you're like, oh, that's all black. That's the freaking howler. So that makes sense. But you know what I don't like about this is when you say, oh, this is a possibility, then people use that as a reason to discredit. Be like, oh, they just misidentified. They didn't actually say anything.
It's important to talk about all the different angles of it, all the different sides, of course. But yeah, I agree that, it's like, don't let that take away from the mystique that there is a crazy howler out there that breaks into houses and fucks your wife. Like these things happen.
No, but for real, though, there's a lot of people who are witnessing this. So that is something to say. When there's enough people who have seen something, you got to be like, there's something to it.
There's got to be something to this. It keeps breaking in like the son of a bitch.
All right.
Clarissa explains it all. He's got the ladder up.
What?
Remember?
I know Clarissa explains it all. What's the reference?
That because there was a report of him coming out of a window. So it just made me think of Clarissa. I don't know why. That's just stuck in my head. I don't know why.
In that early 90s television show for children, by
Yes.
the way, she had a best friend who popped in through the window in a ladder. That's how he entered the scene, which, actually...
And it was a young man coming into a young
Yeah,
girl's
now that
room
I
in
think
her
about
house.
it, as an adult,
It's kind of fucked up.
You are not coming into my 14-year-old daughter's room with a ladder.
Were her parents ever depicted in that show?
Oh yeah, no, her parents.
I
were
remember the
definitely
brother.
depicted. No, the parents were depicted. I remember an episode.
Okay, yeah, the dad would totally kick his ass, is what I would imagine.
Well, I mean, maybe not on Nickelodeon, except when the cameras were off.
But no, that's right. It's Nickelodeon. They don't care about that kind of shit.
Yeah. If they were worried about the well-being of kids.
Yeah.
Actually, there's another documentary called The Orange Years, and that's a really nice documentary that shows Nickelodeon in better light. And then there is another documentary that's just the making of Ren and Stimpy, and that one is kind of like Quiet on the Set, where it's like, oh, interesting. But then you get 45 minutes in, and they're like left turn with pedophile, and you're like,
oh, no.
why did this happen? Jesus!
Why does the story always go down that road? Don't want to go down that road.
Oh, I don't want to go down that road.
I told
There's
you
an
not to go
Ozark
down that
Howler
road.
down that road.
just don't. The legend.
A legend.
Of the Ozark Howler. Oh, funny thing, while you talked about Ren and Stimpy, do you know that Kurt Cobain pitched to do the opening song?
Really?
Yep.
That would have been cool.
And they turned him away.
Well,
that was before he was famous.
okay. Well, there you go. You never know. Sometimes the opening songs, like Primus did South Park's opening song.
Yep.
So, so that's fun.
And
The Adventures of Pete and Pete, another Nickelodeon show, that was done by a real band. They straight up just shot a music video for that band as the opening credits almost.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But okay, back into the legend of the Ozark Howler. And it has permeated the local culture, inspiring art, literature, and regional festivals.
I do interpretive dance about it.
Yes. Its presence in the collective imagination of the Ozark communities serves as a reminder of the profound connection between humans and the natural world, where the unknown and the mysterious continue to fuel our curiosity and wonder.
My curiosity is so fueled.
It's super fueled. Super. Cryptids, like the Ozark Howler, can inadvertently contribute to conservation efforts by fostering an appreciation for the natural environment. In the pursuit of cryptid investigations, researchers often explore remote and undisturbed regions, providing an opportunity to study and preserve the ecosystems and wildlife of these areas. I approve.
I approve too. And it makes sense. Don't destroy the environment of these monsters because then do you know where the monsters are going to go, Ryan?
You don't want to piss them
Under
off.
your kids' beds.
No.
And then if there's actually monsters under the kids' beds, what are you going to tell them? They're going to be like, I think there's something under my bed. You'd be like, yes, I know. His name is Chuck. He does pay rent. He's not going to fuck with you. The monsters have nowhere to go. Okay? I'm sorry.
By the way, Chuck ate all the Lucky Charms.
God.
Son of a bitch. Additionally, protecting the habitats where cryptids are believed to roam can indirectly safeguard the rich biodiversity of the Ozark Mountains. Like I said, I totally approve. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I would say I'm more an environmentalist than a let's watch it all burn.
Me too.
Yeah.
Can we stop all the burning? Let's stop all that fire. There was we've had way too much of it in the United States lately. Holy shit. And the whole world. Fuck.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I mean, that's getting into a whole topic, and yeah, let's not get into that right
The world is burning. The world's on fire.
We didn't start the fire.
But the world is burning, and the soup is churning. I don't know.
You don't know the song.
I don't know
well
the
enough to
song.
parody
Sorry, that
it.
was all
Yeah.
I could. That was all I could think. I'm like,
Soup
what's
is
burning?
churning.
Churning.
All right,
Okay.
I'll give you a C. Like you passed, but no one's impressed.
It's like, you know what you got? F plus. Click. The legend of the Ozark Howler stands as a testament to the enduring power of folklore and mysteries that continue to captivate human imagination. While skeptics may dismiss the existence of cryptids like the Ozark Howler as mere folklore, the allure of these creatures lies in the possibility that they represent hidden wonders yet to be discovered. As we explore the dense forests and rugged landscapes of the Ozark Mountains, we are reminded that, amid the familiar, there may still be elusive creatures waiting to reveal themselves and add to the rich tapestry of our natural world.
Yeah, I'm not greedy at all. I just want one. I don't care if it's Bigfoot. I don't care if it's aliens. I don't care if it's Nessie, the Ozark Howler, fairies, leprechauns.
Giant sloths.
Well, giant sloths did exist. The
They
point
did,
is,
yeah.
I want one of these things to be like, oh no, they're real. Look, we have proof. I believe they all possibly can, but in my lifetime, come on, give me something. Give me anything. The Mongolian death worm.
Yeah, and at this time, it couldn't be easier for that kind of proof to get out.
Yeah, because everyone's got a freaking phone. Right?
Everyone's got a phone, and cameras are getting better and better. So, man, I'm with you,
your
man.
days are numbered, Ozark Howler.
I'm telling you.
I am a private eye, and I have many pictures with you with many wives. Your days are numbered. We're tracking you down. We got better cameras.
Some YouTube influencer is just going to get mauled to death, but that'll be the proof.
It'll
be like live streamed or something. That's the only way it'll happen is if it like live streams.
Can you imagine that? Like someone like Aaron Paul walking into the dudes, be like, "Yeah, guys, I'm in the forest looking for the Ozark."
Oh God!
Go! Oh, most my limb. Oh, you got like I'm imagining a camera like falls to the ground and hits the side, and you just see like limbs and like blood just flying in the screen as he's like dragged off.
Please like and subscribe. Oh God!
like and subscribe. Oh no! I believe that boy was mauled.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that his priorities were a little misconstrued.
All right. So hey,
internet life.
internet life. So that was the Ozark Howler, and hey, I'm excited for that one. I like that one. I
wanted it before.
Me too, and I wanted to do something a little different. And since the Ozark Howler is kind of its own thing, it's not like, oh, this is it's its own creature. It's I don't know. I thought it was more unique. I liked it.
And a lot of people always say with these kind of cryptid stories, like, oh, it could be an animal with mange or this and that. This clearly depicts that it has full-bodied black fur, healthy as it is, but unrecognizable howl, glowing red eyes in the dark.
Yeah.
Everything
And
about
the size of a bear.
The size of a bear.
Like, what could that be misidentified as, except, I guess, another bear?
That's the only thing. It's either maybe it was, like you said, maybe a mountain lion that happened to be maybe in an area that they're not usually seen and that startled somebody and they kind of jumped to conclusions, or maybe a bear that was either,
What if it was like the gigantism version of a bear? Like a bear had like what Andre the Giant has, and then it was just a black bear. Because black bears are normally smaller than brown bears.
right.
And I don't know. I think brown bears are more popular in the Ozark areas than black bear. I'm not a zoologist, but the point is, what if one was just like elephantitis or just huge and weirdly shaped? I don't know.
It's very possible, and these stories come from, like 50, 60 years ago. So, I mean, any kind of animal like that would have already lived and died. So who's to say that it
Well,
didn't
I think they
exist,
still have sightings of it.
Well, that's what they're saying. Yeah, and they still do festivals, so they still remind everybody the legend is alive. So,
It is. And you know what? Now that I think about it, if it ended up being like one of those black bears or something like that, well, I don't know. That would still be the Ozark Howler. It would just be we would know what it is. Like it wouldn't make it less of what it is if that was the explanation. Is all I'm saying.
it would still be a freaking bear. Like it would still be freaking terrifying.
With
I'm okay with
horns, apparently.
and red glowing eyes, evidently.
All right, guys. So that was this week's spooky stuff.
That was.
Yeah.
It was a good one. Thank you, Joe. Good find.
Thank you. So now we're gonna move on from the terrestrial and jump into the extraterrestrial with our segment called
Ryan's Disclosure Discussion. It's about aliens and stuff.
New app being called the Wikipedia of Disclosure. Blake Cousins, along with Dr. Stephen Greer, founder of the Disclosure Project and his new mission, dropping a massive amount of data. Let me tell you, the DPI, the Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive, is massive. And it's going to be on a website, 33 years of work, and you're about to see it. The world's going to see it, and they're going to be rocked.
Rocked Your Socks Off.
Here I am.
So this is a really cool thing, guys. If you're a fan of Disclosure, this, like they say, this app is going to basically have all the information networked. Here's their official statement explaining it better than I ever could.
It says here on the title of the website, and it's very simple to get in. It is dpiarchive.com. You have to register, but that's just their way of kind of canceling out bots. That way, and it's really simple. It's just an email and a password. I did it real quick. So this is from the title of the page here. Welcome to the Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive. In 2022, Dr. Greer was asked by senior members in Senate Intelligence to provide information about the UFO UAP subject. This archive is the result of that request. This collection contains over 33 years of Dr. Greer's extensive research and evidence from military and government contractor whistleblowers. This archive is a work in progress and will continue to be refined and expanded as time goes on. There is still work to be done on it in terms of categorization and labeling, but we wanted to release the information as soon as we could. And then it says, in order to provide free access to the public, we need your generous donations to do so. Please use the donate button on this page to donate generously. And then it has a frequently asked questions page, it says, for how to best use this archive. And they have a video that Dr. Stephen Greer released on his YouTube, which is called Breaking News. Dr. Greer drops bombshell information, catastrophic disclosure. It's a 45-minute video. I watched it, and it really details everything that kind of went into this. And I'm really excited for this. He talked about how by the end of June, there's actually a law going into works that's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's passed, that protects whistleblowers no matter what rank they are, so they can feel free to say anything they've seen without being worried about
losing their careers
or being killed, for that
fair
matter.
Enough. Well, I mean, if the shady organization from the government wants you killed, I assume they can do it. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's a big deal. I intend to donate to it. This is like, if you know what Wikipedia is, they always ask for donations because they've been free for so long. This is a big deal. So like I said, it's not hard to sign in. The video was really informative. It was interesting to hear him talk about this. And no, this is perfect. I've already seen a ton of people sharing stuff they found online.
Perfect. Yeah. And so this is something that other people could add to and put their information. We could all collect the information we're getting, and that's the idea, right? Because when everyone has we're all on the same page, we're closer to disclosure. And Ryan, what was the Dr. Greer's YouTube? What was that? His handle?
I
So they
believe
could
you
find that
just
video.
so for that it's just Dr. Stephen Greer, and it's his latest video. It was up. This was only uploaded 5 days ago. This went live for the first time. This is brand new, and he did say in this video as well. I wanted to mention that he encourages people to, of course, come forward with their stories. He'll add it to, if he can find credibility to it. I mean, you try to give him as much information as you can, and he will have it added to the archive. And also, if you find something in the archive that you see a typo, you see something that you think is misinformed and needs to be corrected, he's willing to do that too. Like he said, he really wants this to be like Wikipedia, where it can kind of be a community thing.
Well, as long as there's someone there fact checking, because we
That-
don't want
For
we don't
now,
want
you can't.
nonsense to just show up on there where it's like,
Right.
hey guys, I saw this little green guy. His name was Carl. I don't know why I'm up with naming things today, but anyway, but he likes to live with a frog on a log under the sea.
Oh, the bottom of the sea. But no, yeah. As of right now, you can't edit things kind of like Wikipedia. You can't edit it yourself like yet, but they do have a place where you can contact them on the website. And like I said, that's dpiarchive.com. It's really easy to make. Just make a quick little sign in. It's not hard. And yeah, so I really wanted to cover that this week because that's brand spanking new.
No, it's perfect. So, let's call it a short and sweet Ryan's disclosure discussion, which honestly, that's good. We don't want to force this stuff. We don't want to sit here and go on and on about repeating ourselves. This, like you said, is really cool news for the disclosure community. And I for one, am all for it.
Yeah, and when it comes to there might be some weeks where I just don't have a disclosure discussion because I would rather, limit it to good stories, either that be classic stories or new stories. But I don't just want to keep coming here being like, they saw a light in the sky and, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. What do you think? We could do that all day. There's millions of those. So we're going to stick with what's pretty relevant. And this is definitely awesome. I've been a fan of Dr. Greer. I've seen a lot of his work. He's a little loony for me. Like he does he really does like the psychic, like he does these things where he has groups come and they meditate to talk to
for astral projection.
And they
like,
say that it works though. I've seen them say that they've had UFOs show up to these sessions, whatever you call it.
I mean, it might work. I've never tried it, but hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dr. Stephen Greer, way to go, dude.
Well, you know what? That was the first half of our show, guys. That was the spooky stuff in the disclosure discussion. We got some cryptids, we got some aliens, and now is
Earthling Entertainment Special Report. So, Ted, the vulgar little teddy bear created by Seth MacFarlane, well, it's getting a season 2 on Peacock. Also, Daredevil Born Again will release in March 2025. So mark those calendars. And finally, Billie Piper. The first companion of the Doctor Who reboot in 2005 named Rose. Yeah, you probably don't know. Anyways, Billie Piper. She's gonna be in Wednesday, season 2. And that's all we got for Earthling Entertainment Special Report.
And now we are in our entertainment section.
Remember that guy? Remember that gal? Well, now they're dead.
Roger Corman passes away at 98. Legendary B-movie king Roger Corman, who directed and produced hundreds of low-budget films and discovered such future industry stars as Jack Nicholson, Martin Scorsese, and Robert De Niro, has died. He was 98. Corman died May 9th at his home in Santa Monica, California, surrounded by family members. The family confirmed to Variety. His films were revolutionary and iconoclastic and captured the spirit of an age. When asked how he would like to be remembered, he said, "I was a filmmaker, just that."
I mean, that is good. I was a filmmaker. That's like dropping the mic.
I agree. Corman's empire, which existed in several incarnations, including New World Pictures and Concord New Horizons, was as active as any major studio, and he boasted always profitable.
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. They really were always profitable because he did them for cheap and he sold them, and they were always fun little genre pieces. He has this book that I have right here.
Mhm.
I always wanted to get him to sign it, and I never will get him
Well,
now.
yeah.
It's How I Made 100 Movies in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime by Roger Corman.
Badass.
Yeah,
That's,
great.
That's a hell of a flex.
Great book. This was like what should I say? My film school Bible, for instance. You know what I mean? I loved it.
Well, yeah, interesting. He specialized in fast-paced, low-budget genre movies, horror, action, science fiction, even some family fare. When Corman was awarded an Oscar at the AMPA's First Governor's Awards ceremony in November 2009, Ron Howard saluted him for hiring women in key executive and creative jobs, as well as for giving them big roles. And Walter Mosley was quoted as saying, Corman offered one of the few open doors looking beyond age, race, and gender.
Yeah, so I mean, he would hire anyone who would do the job, and the reason why is he did it cheap. Like, you know, he never really paid you that much. He paid you just enough to do the job, but that was like his thing. It was fun. At one point, I think we don't have it written down here, but at one point there was a director. You may have heard of him. Fuck, Ron Howard. There we go. Anyways, Ron Howard said when making a movie, because he directed for Roger Corman once, that he said, you know, hey, this is really low budget. Can we do something about that? And Roger Corman famously said, look, if you do this movie, you never have to work for me again.
Interesting. Well, yeah, and it sounds like it was an honor to work with the guy. He was a legend.
He was a legend, dude. He made 200 movies. You know what he did? Do you remember that movie that came out a few years ago with Jason Statham called Death Race?
Yes.
Well, Death Race was a remake of a Roger Corman film called Death Race 2000, and Sylvester Stallone starred in it.
Okay. No, I didn't even know.
Yeah, and you know what else?
What?
So Feed Me Seymour.
Yes.
Yes. The first, you know, the musical that came out in the 80s with Rick Moranis.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. Guess what? That first one, starring Jack Nicholson as the dentist, which was not a musical, came out, I believe, in the 50s. Roger Corman.
I did not know that either.
Yeah.
So this is just so pretty much every kind of off movie probably was him.
Well, a lot of them, to say the least. He kept doing. He did like Sci-Fi Channel original movies. I'm pretty sure he did Dino Shark. You know what I mean?
Dino Shark.
Yes, like just a constant flow of these movies. And he made movies. He sold them. He made money. He made the next movie. Like, that is the dream. You know, he never had a flop because he didn't spend $200 million on a movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Corman hailed film as the only true modern art form, but he pointed out that the need of cast and crew payments mean a constant compromise between art and business.
Yeah, exactly. He never wanted to pay anybody.
Over half a century, he took over the B-movie market, which had largely disappeared in the wake of television, and kept it alive most single-handedly, along with Sam Arkoff and American Intel Pictures, who financed most of Corman's early directing and producing efforts. Well, into his 90s, he was producing Bs for $5 million and under, and rolling them out for video and television release. The legend made over 200 movies in his lifetime. Yeah, and contributed to the zeitgeist more than more people realize. Roger Corman, you will be missed.
He will be missed. Absolutely. And oh my God. I loved Roger Corman. I used to say in film school that, like, if I end up being Roger Corman, I'm okay with that. Because, you know, the Oscar he got in 2008, 2009, it was a Life Achievement Award because none of his movies were like, here, this is an Oscar-worthy movie. He got an Oscar because of the things he did, the people in the industry that he brought, you know, that he introduced, the amount of movies that he did, I'm sorry, I'm just such a huge fan.
I can tell. Honestly,
I'm really sad that he's gone. But he's 98, so
lived a good life, had a great career. Like,
I mean, Betty White beat him, but like still, that's pretty good.
But like you said, man, that's the dream, huh? Holy crap, this guy, like, what a winner.
Yeah, the only person I would compare him to would probably be Lloyd Kaufman from Troma. The difference is Troma does a very adult stylistic situation, whereas Roger Corman, they were all B movies, but they were a broad spectrum. Different things.
Well, man, a salute from Earthling Entertainment to you, sir.
Yes, yes. If we weren't recording this in the morning, we would be doing a shot for you.
Damn
Huzzah!
right. Huzzah. So we got a little section here that Joe went ahead and named Music Mumbles.
Music Mumbles. I was trying to think of something like MM, and I was like, Music Muses, and that almost was the thing, and I liked it, but then, I don't know. Music Mumbles, it won. It won, Ryan.
Let us mumble. Serge Tankian offered to quit System of a Down in 2017. So 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Yeah.
System of a Down. So I found this article interesting because it started circulating, and it to me, I don't know. Any news about System of a Down makes me happy because you and me grew up on System. We love System. So let me go ahead and jump back in. So System of a Down and Serge Tankian haven't exactly seen eye to eye over the years. Tankian has made it clear that he's not interested in touring anymore and is the holdup for new material from the band.
Which sucks because it would be nice to get new material.
And it would be nice to have Serge too, but I mean, if he's ready to go, just go. That's the way I feel. Though in the studio and on stage, for most of their career, System of a Down has always been Tankian, guitarist and vocalist Darren Malakian, bassist Shavo, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this, Odagian, and drummer John Dalmayan. So a new version of the band, either live or in studio, without any of those four members might be too weird, but it almost happened. So this is from Serge. Toward the end of 2017, we had a band meeting at system manager Bino's office. When I arrived, I told everyone that I had an item I wanted to add to the agenda. We went through the rigmarole of regular business discussions, and then it came time for my item. So who's going to throw me a going away party? I asked the group. Do one of you guys want to be the master of ceremonies? I laughed a little, but I was serious. Look, guys, it's been very clear that I am no longer interested in touring, both due to my back and because it's just no longer something within my vision. The thing is, though, I continued, I don't want to hold you guys back. This is your dream. This is what you've worked for your whole life. You deserve to have this. I looked at Darren, Shavo, and John, knowing what I said would hit hard. I think you guys should find a new singer. According to Tankian, in an excerpt from his new book, Down with the System, over at Rolling Stone, he actually offered to quit the band in 2017. System of a Down secretly tried out a new vocalist, or vocalists, and despite Tankian saying he'd even teach the person to scream and growl, the replacement never quite came to be.
And personally, I'm happy with it. I mean, honestly, if you get rid of a band member, I think you should change the name of the band and just be a different band because your band were those core members. I know Dio shows up after Ozzy, and that's the new Black Sabbath, and some people like Dio and some people like Ozzy. But to me, it was different, and it should have been a different band. And there's plenty of examples of it. So I don't know. Finding a replacement, I don't think so. Forming a new band, that's what I would have preferred.
Yeah, it's different if like the dude died, but Serge is still alive and well.
True, but he doesn't want to do it.
Right. So, so his passion for the band has died. So it's like, yeah, should the band go on and, I don't know. Part of me,
I mean, it's not like you're starting over from scratch.
Right. And you always see, new bands carrying on the old songs as well. Like when Rob Zombie came from White Zombie, when you see Rob Zombie, he still plays White Zombie songs.
Sure.
So it's not like they couldn't start a new band and still play some System of a Down songs. King Diamond, he plays Merciful Fate.
Yeah, especially if Serge is down with it, which it seems like obviously he was.
Yeah, like I said, every time I see King Diamond, he always plays Come to the Sabbath, which is a Merciful Fate song, his first band, which has nothing to do with his band. So,
Yeah.
you could totally do it. It's been done before. So I can agree with you, Joe, but I could also agree with that. I could see it going both ways, especially with this story. I have a feeling the fact that I've been hearing so much about System lately,
It's going to come back up.
I have a feeling that they already probably have somebody.
Well, I mean, yeah, because this is an old situation and that we're hearing about now.
Right. Now that they're like really talking about it and circulating it, I have a feeling that really means that we're probably going to see it. Whatever they decide to do, it's going to happen soon, I think.
Right on. Well, I think they should be System of a Deuce.
System of a douche.
No, of a deuce, of a number 2.
Oh, System of a deuce.
System of a Deuce.
Hey.
Yeah, we were
I don't
System
know
of a
why
Down,
that
System of a
became
Deuce.
Italian. I don't know why that happened.
Kind of Italian.
Like kinda, New York.
we'll call it cartoon Italian.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Get out of here.
Yeah,
Get outta here.
if this was Bugs Bunny, no one would question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome,
What's
guys.
up, Serge?
So that was a section called Music Mumbles.
It was.
And I don't know how many of these we're going to have, but if an article comes up that is in the music, just like we have the alien exposure and the spooky stuff, we're going to have this section now. And that means we're going to have a fancy little, sound bite for it, like Music Mumbles. Music Mumbles. I don't know, but that could be one. There you go. But hey, I think we're time for our headlines. And we got so many good headlines this time.
Here we go.
Earthling Entertainment headlines.
Silent Bob himself, Kevin Smith, is going to be a sitcom regular. Get ready. For the past few months, Kevin Smith has been teasing that Jason Mewes and himself will soon be series regulars for an upcoming sitcom. Smith expresses his love for sitcoms and mentioned they had a huge impact on him growing up. Smith was unable to reveal which show he will be appearing in, but the news has finally broke. On his own social media, Kevin Smith confirmed that he and Jason Mewes will be playing characters in the second season of That 90s Show. This makes a lot of sense. The Jay and Silent Bob creator was at the height of his powers in the 90s, which is why having him involved in the show is simply perfect. Just like Tommy Chong in That 70s Show, icons from the decade are a must for this zany Netflix sequel series.
Zany Netflix sequel series. Say that 6
I
times.
know,
fast.
that did trip me up. That 90s Show Season 2 premieres June 27th.
Yes. And then apparently there's a part 3, and that is going to be October 24th.
Interesting.
Yeah. Have you seen any of that 90s show?
Not a second.
Okay. So if you like that 70s show, it's fun, dude. I do like it. And because we're a little old for that 90s show, because we basically grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Correct.
So we're just a little bit, too young, I'd say.
Yeah. When you're a teenager, that's your era. I think.
That's your era. So we would say early 2000s.
We were early 2000s.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Because we were 90 kids, though. 90s kids.
Yes, we were 90s kids.
Well, anyways, you get the pop culture references a lot more. Like, I love That 70s Show, and I got a lot of those references just because of my love for pop culture in general. But because we were kids in the 90s, like the styles and hippies. That was more the 60s, bud. But anyways, That 90s Show, pretty good. And would you see Kevin Smith in the show?
100%.
I love Silent Bob. I love Kevin Smith. Did you know he did this before?
No.
There was a 3-episode arc in Degrassi, The Next Generation.
No way.
A Canadian. Drake's from it. Drake
Oh,
played a
no
wheelchair
way.
kid. Yeah.
Oh, I knew that Drake was in it, eh?
Yes, well, so was Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, but they played themselves, whereas in this one, I think they're characters.
I like it. No, okay, I'm here for it. Now I kind of want to watch the first season of That 90s Show just so I can kind of...
I mean,
I'll know the other characters,
I don't know. I'd have to see what people think of that show who never saw That 70s Show. Like, I can't say for certain that the show stands on its own. I don't know. Because a lot of them are like, because, the main character is Eric and Donna's daughter, who is staying with the Foremans, her grandparents, for the summer. And the groups of friends, like there's the Kelso. So there is Kelso's kid, which apparently Kelso did end up with Jackie, and they have a kid. And that is one of the main characters. But, a lot of what happened in That 70s Show informs That 90s Show. So, like I said, I don't know if someone going in fresh would enjoy it. But if you're a 90s person and you like all that pop culture stuff, Kevin Smith being in it was perfect. And I'm ready. I'm ready for it, Ryan.
Well, and I'm just proud of him because he's had such a long, long road from that heart attack. You know?
Well, he's always stayed busy. He's got another movie coming out called The 4:30 Movie.
Interesting.
It takes place in the 80s, and it's about kids theater hopping, which is
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he probably got to make that movie pretty inexpensively because he owns the theater in New Jersey. So he just shot it there.
Well, why not?
Yeah, why not? Also, he has another Jay and Silent Bob movie coming out. And unlike Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, this will not be them going to Hollywood to try to stop a movie. This is an original story that any
Excellent.
characters could have been in, but he wanted to make it Jay and Silent Bob.
The Jay and Silent Bob reboot to me was good, but it wasn't great. But don't get me wrong, I loved it. You know what I mean? It was just out of his, like, I would just say it's probably ranks a little lower on, like, you know, his, like, Clerks 3 I thought was amazing.
I loved it too. Clerks 3, yeah.
If you haven't seen Clerks 3, watch it. It will blow away all of your expectations. I mean it. Every character development is so brilliant and unexpected that it was so entertaining. It was well done. Like, it wasn't like, because you would kind of think it was just, oh, let's just do Clerks 3, let's have fun. No,
It's got heart.
Really
it's
good.
Heart-wrenching at times.
I was a mess.
I will
By
say
the end of
that, you know, don't just watch Clerks 3 without seeing the first two. I mean,
Yes.
or at least the second one, but really the first two, just because
You
the third
have
one
to.
is the end of a trilogy, and it does pay off. You know what I mean? It is the last chapter.
I'll
of
go
a
ahead and say,
saga.
sorry to interrupt. I will go ahead and say that, no, you have to watch the first two. You
Yeah.
have to, because in order for this
To get the full experience.
that's what I'm saying. Kevin wrote a great ride. And I would also suggest, before you watch it, maybe do a little bit of research on Kevin himself and what he went through, because it definitely reflects in the script.
Well, it informs the third film big time.
Yes, but yeah, so good for them. Moving on, Sigourney Weaver was in talks to join the Star Wars universe.
Is in talks.
It says past tense here.
Well, it's real tense.
We are doing this. Disney Plus's two biggest stars are headed to the big screen. The next adventure for Star Wars, Din Djarin and his little green son, will take place in theaters. I hope.
No, yeah. Well, yeah, Disney keeps being like, this movie, because didn't they say the Rey movie was coming out before this, and now they're talking about this like it's coming out first, so I don't know what they're doing. Lucasfilm,
Yeah.
get your act together, Lucasfilm.
Oh, man, Dave Filoni I think he's just fucking with us, man.
It's not his fault.
You're
Kathleen
right.
Kathleen Kennedy is still the head of Lucasfilm.
I'm gonna keep. All I think of is South Park.
I know.
Just watch the South Park one, everybody. Enter the Pandaverse. Most recently, the Hollywood Reporter reported that Sigourney Weaver was in talks to join the Star Wars universe in The Mandalorian and Grogu.
That's the name of the film, Mandalorian and Grogu.
I like it.
I don't know if I like it.
I don't mind it. We'd certainly love to see Weaver head back to space. There is no news yet on what role she might play. The movie's official announcement did not include a plot synopsis. Kathleen Kennedy said The Mandalorian and Grogu will tell a new story she describes as a perfect fit for the big screen. The movie's first official artwork does show Din and Grogu fleeing an exploding ship, but that just might be a normal Thursday for them.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Until we get any actual details about the film's plot, any speculation about The Mandalorian and Grogu will be based on where the Disney Plus show left the characters after season 3, as well as the known state of the galaxy far, far away during the time period of the early days of the New Republic and what we know followed it. The Mandalorian creator and showrunner, Jon Favreau, will direct the film. He also served as the producer, along with both Kennedy and longtime Star Wars stalwart Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni!
Dave Filoni!
The Filonious bastards.
Yes.
Yes.
Filonious bastards.
No, that was my idea. There's this movie. I'll tell you after the article. I'm sorry. All right.
I like it. Production is set to begin in 2024. It will shoot for a scheduled 92 days in California, where it has received one of the state's biggest tax credits ever for a movie. Reports say work on The Mandalorian and Grogu will include 500 crew members, 54 cast members, and 3,500 background players.
That's a lot of jobs. Hey, man, being a background person's pretty fun. I got to go on Universal's backlot, be directed by Frank Darabont, got great food, was there all day. Yeah, background work ain't bad. I've done it a few times.
I would do it.
Yeah, especially to be in Star Wars.
Well, yeah. Pedro Pascal's voice is all but certain to be a part of the movie. It's unclear how much, if any,
He will physically play the role, though. At this point on the Disney Plus's show, the part of Mando is primarily a voiceover one for Pascal. Actors Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder share responsibility for playing the masked, helmeted Din Djarin on the film. If Din never removes his helmet in the movie, which is possible, Pascal's involvement could take place entirely off screen. He did physically play the character in the past. Maybe he'll put on his Beskar armor once again for a big budget film. The Mandalorian and Grogu is scheduled to come to theaters May 22nd, 2026.
All right, so I'm going to call it right now. The Mandalorian is totally going to take off his mask, and he's going to do so towards the end of the film as he dies or is dying, saving Grogu, who is put into another dimension, maybe the one that the Ahsoka show's in, but just to get him out of the way so he's not dead and we can bring him back, but yet isn't there for all the sequel films that, he wasn't in.
And there were many Mandalorian worlds in the Outer Rim that he could possibly go off to, you know what I mean? And that's a possibility as well. What if he found
Now, see, we already have Yoda in hiding. This guy can't be hiding. He's got to be in cryo or a different galaxy. He cannot just be hiding on Dagobah.
Well, I was saying Grogu, though.
Grogu is the same fucking thing as Yoda. They're the same goddamn creature.
Well,
you're not going to have another Jedi Yoda guy hiding.
But that's where I'm agreeing with you, where it's where's he been then all this time?
That's what I'm saying. Stasis or another dimension.
Other dimensions, though, I guess you're right, because he could go into the world between worlds.
I'm just saying it's got to be different. You can't just have, there's just another Jedi that wasn't in the movies because he was hiding.
All right, moving on. I'm all about it, though, by the way, because a Mandalorian I'm a huge fan of, so I'm over that. I'm all about that. I know that you said you were kind of on the fence with the name. I'll take it, but yeah, I'll agree when it comes to Star Wars, it's kind of a weak name, because usually they try to come up with something kind of title-y.
Yeah, and you know what the best title is? The idea that I had. Fan film, right? Because you see Fanboys, the movie that came out in 2009, and it had a bunch of group of kids, and they were going to break into Lucasfilm Ranch to see the episode 1 movie. I have a sequel. It's called Fanboys, Felonious Bastards.
I like it.
Yes, and they're just going to try to break into Dave Filoni's house to get new Star Wars secrets. I just saying.
That would make a great, like a fan film, something like that.
I think so.
But yes, so Mandalorian Grogu, 2026, bit of a wait, but hopefully it's worth it, and I agree with you.
As long as the Star Wars movie actually comes out at some point.
As long as it happens, man, I'm here. I'm here for it. Moving on to my favorite story of the day. All right, guys, here we go. Number 4, strap in. Best story of the night. Nicolas Cage to star in live-action Spider-Man Noir series at Prime Video.
Yes.
The Spider-Verse is about to get even bigger via the small screen. It is also about to get a lot darker, mysterious, and funny. And, let's be honest, a lot weirder.
Good. I like the zaniness.
Prime Video has officially done what Spidey fans have been waiting to hear. The studio has formally ordered a new live-action series starring Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir, the character he originally voiced in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The Spider-Man Noir show will see Nicolas Cage playing the live-action version of his character from Sony's animated 2018 Oscar winner. The series based on the Marvel comic Spider-Man Noir will air on Prime Video and MGM+. For those who have, for some absurd reason, not yet seen the Spider-Verse or are unfamiliar with the character's comic history, Amazon also shared a brief synopsis for the Spider-Man Noir series. Noir tells the story of an aging and down-on-his-luck private investigator, Cage, in 1930s New York, who is forced to grapple with his past life as the city's one and only superhero.
Yes. So I imagine this is going to be in black and white, right? And I really want it to be in the stylistic way that Sin City was in.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's actually like a living comic book. They also did The Spirit, which is another Frank Miller thing. And they did it in the same kind of style. Not as good of a movie as Sin City, but still, That would be really cool.
Almost like, I don't know, 300 kind of reminded me of that style a little bit, where it was like surrealness like to it.
Sure. Yeah, definitely very artistic and surreal, but it was just the way they use black and white in Sin City just blew my mind. And I think they could do it here. I loved the Spider-Man noir character. That was my favorite part of Into the Spider-Verse. It really was. And Nicolas Cage, dude, Nicolas Cage loves comic books.
Dude, Nicolas Cage is doing so well for himself too. Like he's a nutbag, but man, is he good.
He is good, dude. And think about the comic book characters he's played. He's done Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
He did.
I like that movie.
That was good. He did 2 of them.
Face Off.
That's not a comic book character. He did Big Daddy from Kick-Ass. That's another comic book character.
He would have been Superman.
He would have been Superman, exactly. He was Spider-Man Noir, and now we get to see real life Spider-Man Noir. Think about it.
I'm into this because the first movie, I really liked it. Second one was crazy. I got to watch it again. I enjoyed it, but it was so crazy. I got to watch it again.
You know, people say that the second one was like one of the greatest movies ever. To me, it just didn't have an ending. Like, I felt like the climax of that film where he's trying to escape from all the Spider-Man, spoiler, I thought that was kind of like setting up to be right before the climax of the film. Like, I thought that was just like getting us to the climax. So then when it was just like to be continued, I'm just like, oh.
And I just remember T-Rex Spider-Man. I'll never forget Tyrannosaurus Rex Spider-Man was chasing after him. It was amazing.
Tyrannosaurus Rex Spider-Man is pretty amazing, yes.
That's what that film was good for, in my opinion, was T-Rex Spider-Man. I want to see a movie about him, damn it.
Well, I was wondering why Amazon Prime was making this show, right? Because the Spider-Man property is owned by Sony. And then it dawned on me, Sony doesn't actually have their own streaming site. So they give their movies to whatever. That's why you can get some of the Spider-Man Sony movies on Disney Plus, is because they're just licensing their content out to other people, which makes a lot of sense. So the question is, Paramount is up for sale, and Sony's bidding right now on Paramount. And if Sony buys Paramount, they would have Paramount Plus. But even then, I don't think they're going to keep it up. I think they're going to sell Paramount Plus and not have a streaming service. But anyways, that's why it's on Amazon Prime.
I mean, it kind of feels like at this point, it's like they can just auction off shows, movies, ideas, or whatever to whichever platform is like, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, that is their plan. And they're in the streaming wars, they are the arms dealer.
They're making those paper boats.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So Spider-Man Noir, I'm excited. We have a quote here from the head of television at Amazon and MGM Studios. Here we go.
The extremely talented Nicolas Cage is an ideal choice for our new superhero, and the accomplished producing team and Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, Amy Pascal, and the incredible team at Sony is dedicated to expanding this franchise in the most authentic way. We're ready to dedicate our time to watching when it debuts. The Spider-Verse is an infinite place of possibilities and heroes, but we very much want to spend more time with this version of the character, and obviously, more time with Nicolas Cage, says Vernon Sanders, the head of television at Amazon and MGM Studios.
Because who doesn't want to work with Nicolas Cage, man? He just seems like a nice guy. I personally haven't met him. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's the biggest dick in the world. But I don't think so. Everything I've heard is he's just so nice and genuine.
I heard his life is a little hectic and whatnot, but yeah, him on the set, I heard he's professional. He shows up on time. He's there to work. He's very polite to his coworkers, big or small. So that's what I've heard.
Yeah. And, I don't know. Personal lives are tough. And I imagine juggling a crazy film career, which has, if you're on a film set, Nicolas Cage isn't, I imagine. The actors don't. But, like, if you're on a film set as crew, you're there minimum 12 hours. Like, it could be a 16-hour, 17-hour day, and that's just normal. So when you do shows for, like, 3 weeks in a row like that, and then you don't have another gig for about a month, it messes with you. It's like when you were forced to work midnights for a bunch and then do a switch. It's tough.
No, yeah, and at the same time, you're an actor and you're a great actor like Nicolas Cage. Like, it takes a bit of madness, I think, to be able to act that well. So you're becoming all these characters. So at the same time, you got to remind yourself who you are.
Yeah, personal lives are tough when you're in the arts.
That's what I imagine. So, and especially with him, how many films has he been in? It has to be like at least 100. Like, my God.
I don't know. but you know what? I'm gonna look it up.
So while you're looking that up, I'll move on here.
Excellent, excellent. So we are at headline number 5.
Warner Brothers to release new Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, in 2026.
Hooray! I like them Lord of the Rings films.
Warner Brothers will release the first of its new batch of live-action The Lord of the Rings films in 2026.
And
which,
Nicolas Cage has been in 117 films.
So I was right.
You were right. All right, anyways, start that paragraph over. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. So they will release their new batch of live-action Lord of the Rings films in 2026, which will focus on Andy Serkis's Gollum. Original The Lord of the Rings trilogy filmmaker Peter Jackson and his partners Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens are producing the movie and will be involved in every step of the way, says Warner Brothers. In a press release, the studio revealed that the working title for the film is
Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollums.
and it will be directed by and star Serkis in his iconic titular role.
Titular.
Titular. So he's going to direct it too?
Yeah, he's going to direct it.
That's awesome.
Well, he's directed a few things. Well, in The Hobbit, he was Peter Jackson's second unit director, and then he also directed the Venom sequel. He directed Venom Let There Be Carnage.
I had no idea. I didn't know he's such a great actor and he's just amazing and everything. I had no idea he was a director too. So way to just be super talented in every freaking way, dude.
I know, man. It's exciting. The Hunt for Golem. Long story short, there was a fan film called The Hunt for Golem, and this, I don't know if it's the same story or what the deal is, but this new one is the story of them looking for Golem. Like before Lord of the Rings, or in between. I guess in between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Right, because we do know that Gandalf had ran into him.
Yeah,
because he said he pitied him.
Yeah.
So this is the explanation, I think, for that like line where he tells Frodo, because he explains that Bilbo pitied him. He said that he pitied him, and that Frodo might, and then Frodo did.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Are you into more Lord of the Rings, Ryan?
I love Lord of the Rings. I named my son Thorin.
It's true. It's true. Well, I wanted to say that there's a couple things happening, man. The Rings of Power is coming out this spring, and the first trailer drop for that. But then
that
also,
was a miss for me.
Yeah, well, the second season might be a hit. You got to give it a chance. And then also, what's really, really cool, did you know that we are getting a Lord of the Rings movie in December? This December.
No.
Yeah. Couple things. It's called The War of the Rohirrim.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a Rohan war.
I like it.
I think it's like a couple hundred years or 1,000 years before The Hobbit. It is animated.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Like,
yeah.
I wonder what kind of style.
Anime style.
So that's what I was figuring. Because, that makes sense.
Yeah. And but there you go, man. More Lord of the Rings content than we know what to do with. I'm excited.
Dude, yeah. I'll carry the ring.
You know what's funny is the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, I really did enjoy because I like the stories that came from the Second Age. But what I didn't realize is the reason why it didn't work for you and didn't work for a lot of people might be the fact that there were still Tolkien things that they did not have the rights to talk about. So things in the Silmarillion and other aspects, the Luthien and someone, the fall of blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of things that they couldn't actually reference. So they were basically working around all this mythos, trying to do a coherent story, tell Lord of the Rings mythology without, we're not allowed to mention that person. Shit. Okay.
It's like, we're going to tell this story, but we're not allowed to tell this story.
It's like, all right, guys, I need you to do a movie of the Old Testament, but you got to work around the Jesus character. It's like, okay, so 12 guys hanging out in the desert?
Yeah, we can make this happen.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll work.
See, that just that's what bothers me. I say this before on the podcast. This is the one thing about the industry that just boggles my mind, that if someone's going to be, just let them tell the story, man. Why is there I don't get it.
Well, it all has to do with rights, who owns what, and then when it comes to the Lord of the Rings, Tolkien is obviously deceased, and so he's not making new stuff. So how does the family keep making money off it? Well, instead of just giving the rights to all the work, they'll give the rights to this book or this Hobbit or this, or the Lord of the Rings. But if you give the rights to, hypothetically, the Hobbit, and in the Hobbit we reference something that is in the Silmarillion that you don't have the rights for, it's a dance, and it all stems from the family, or the rights holders, in this instance the family, and how they do business, which you can't really fault them for, right? I mean, it's theirs, they own it.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to be a fan. It's what's being provided. If you like it, watch it, give it a shot. I will. I'll give the second season a shot. I watched the first season. Like I said, I didn't care for it.
It didn't work for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
you're not alone. I really enjoyed it, but I love pretty much all fantasy, and there are parts of it I will admit are dumb.
Yeah. But like I said, being a fan with Star Wars, with that new trilogy, got a lot of hate. I can find things in it that I like. I can find things in it, of course, that I wouldn't have done it that way if they asked me, but they didn't. And I'm a fan, and that's a Star Wars movie. I accept it. It is what it is. Maybe it's not my favorite, but that's kind of how I feel like people should think about with stuff like this. It's really cool that they're creating this content. I think it's wonderful. In an age where they just keep rebooting, remaking old films, at least here they're trying to create something new.
Well, yes, or at least say something in a different way, I guess. I don't know. It's based on books. It's based on intellectual property that already exists. So do we say it's based on new? Maybe, I guess, because it's not remake of a movie or show. But in any case, it is fresh Lord of the Rings and Hobbit and Middle-earth material, and I'm here for it.
Answer, Herbitzes.
All right.
Yay! Speaking of things that are awesome, this next one I'm super stoked for, because I don't know if you guys realize this, but about a year or two ago, I think it was 2002, they announced that they're going to do a new Barbarella movie. And if you know what Barbarella is, it's based on a comic strip from way back when, but Jane Fonda did a version in the 60s, and it is just, it's fun, it's goofy, it's sci-fi, it's campy, and there's plenty of nudity. A lot of fun. This new one probably won't have nudity, but still cool.
It does have Sydney Sweeney, so who knows? Maybe.
I don't know her policy on that, but continue.
I know that she's pretty famous for being pretty busty. I know that.
Yeah, well, that is true.
Barbarella remake starring Sydney Sweeney may be directed by Scott Pilgrim vs. the World's Edgar Wright.
Yeah. Also Shaun of the Dead and At World's End.
Nice.
Yeah. And Hot Fuzz.
Nice.
And Baby Driver.
Okay, so this guy's got a bit of a good track record here.
And the original director for Ant-Man before he was fired.
Huh.
Yeah, a lot going on. All right, continue.
We haven't heard much about Sydney Sweeney starring Barbarella remake since it was first reported in 2022.
Oh, I was right.
But we just got quite the development about who might be in the director's chair. Deadline broke the news today that Edgar Wright is in talks to direct the new film based on the character from Jean-Claude's Forest's comic series. IGN has also confirmed the news with a source close to production, although they caution that a deal hasn't closed yet and it's still in its early days. Deadline also reports that Jane Goldman and Honey Ross are in negotiations to write the script. This won't be Barbarella's first time on the big screen, of course. Jane Fonda portrayed the comics character in 1968 film directed by Roger Vadim, which saw Fonda as a space-traveling mercenary hunting for a scientist on behalf of the U.S. government. It got largely mixed reviews upon its original release, but it's since become a cult favorite with a number or proposed and failed revivals cropping up over the years.
Yeah, people have tried to keep making more of them. That's what they're
Yes.
saying. That's a weirdly worded sentence.
That was very odd and it threw me off. If a deal with Wright does go through, it would partner one of Hollywood's most in-demand actresses with one of the most popular living directors.
Yeah. And I personally would have a lot of fun with it. So it's like Flash Gordon version of weird, like, campiness. And it's just, you've you ever seen Barbarella?
No, but I have seen Flash Gordon.
Well, that's the kind of, think of that aesthetic. Okay, it's
Yeah.
just really, really odd. And you have seen Barbarella, you just don't know it because on Family Guy, on South Park, on all like the Venture Brothers, just
I've
everyone.
heard the term.
They
yeah.
reference it and they have scenes from it that they're, you know what I mean? You know how when you watch the satire shows, there's always referencing old movies and stuff. Barbarella has been one of those.
I've heard Barbarella be like, say, like, obviously they were doing a play on words with it, you know, like, oh, Barbarella over here. And that's, I've always heard the references to it, but yes, I've never, I don't think I've ever even seen it.
One day I want to sit down and we'll watch it, bud. We'll do a review of Barbarella.
I'm in.
I think you'd like it. And Jane Fonda, she was a smoke show back then. I'm just saying.
All right. No, I'm here for it.
All right, excellent. Well, you know, I think that was a successful show. We're done, bud. That's it. We got no more material.
That's it.
That's it.
We're done, man.
All right.
We're
It's
screwed.
all over, man. All over,
man.
man.
Pogo, what are we going to do, Pogo?
Oh, what a good dog. He didn't bark at all this episode.
I was surprised. He had his head out the window the whole time. I was waiting for it.
Haha. That's why you don't bring a dog in the studio. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this episode of Earthling Entertainment. Remember, the best way to support us is to download the episodes on anywhere you listen to the podcast. And we can't stress that further. Seriously, download the episodes. It would be so cool of you.
It would be very cool with you, and it would be cool with me if you guys would hit us up on Facebook. That's the best way. Facebook Messenger. If there's any questions you got, anything you want us to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. That's the best way to get a hold of us. Thank you again for listening. And like Joe said, please download wherever you stream podcasts.
And check out Earthling Entertainment on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok.
Yeah, we're on TikTok now.
Yeah. And so, guys, from all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, let's come back next week. Thanks for listening and
See ya.
Goodbye.
you know what's a weird thing that I haven't thought about in a while?
What?
A banana split. It just seems like an old-timey kind of ice cream thing, right? But if you go to Dairy Queen, it's still on the menu. And it's like, when's the last time you saw someone eat a banana split or you yourself ordered a banana split?
I've never tried one in my life. And there is a place by me, I believe, called The Banana Split, and it's an ice cream place.
It must have been like a real popular thing at one time, right? Because
Right.
there's so many places have it and know what it is. Which, I mean, I guess if there's someone listening who doesn't know what a banana split is, it's a bunch of ice cream and they cut a banana in half and put half the banana on either side of that ice cream with like whipped cream and a cherry on top.
Yeah, and it sounds good enough. I mean, I've never tried it, but I mean, it would kind of sound like a banana smoothie in a way, because with the ice cream and with the banana, that's probably what it tastes
Well,
like.
it's like a deconstructed banana smoothie. It's like 'cause you just got
Yeah.
the ingredients, right?
Yeah, like you separated it at the molecule.
It'd be like Hell's Kitchen. You get the guy, this is crap. You do not have month-old frozen ice cream. Your ice cream must be fresh.
And then they also make the banana dipped in chocolate. They do those.
They do. That is a thing. There's a lot of banana dishes. Do we just live in a place where they don't sell bananas, or
And bananas are still relatively cheap, honestly, according compared to other fruit. But then again, it doesn't last as long. I don't know. You got to cover up the stem. I know that's important.
what?
Yes, if you literally like take like plastic wrap or whatever and like use like a rubber band or something, and you put it over the stem of the banana, it'll like double its shelf life. I swear to God.
Really?
Yep, they even make covers. Like there are people. I want to say there was like a dude on like Shark Tank who literally went there to sell his banana stem covers
Banana stem covers.
because that's what it's for.
Did they invest?
I want to say no.
All right. So it might not work is the point.
I think they just didn't think it would make money because I think he had a weird. I think he just sucked at the
It's
whole
like-
business
like,
part. It was
yeah,
a good idea.
It's like,
but-
look, guys, the materials, I can't lie, are gonna cost $14 million. like, what? You make them out of like rubber?
Yeah, it was. What was it? I think it was like kind of like a silicone base.
Sure, that
kind
makes
of
sense.
thing, and he did it with like he literally did it with like, oh, I got sports teams and stuff like that. Like he really tried. It
So
wasn't-
he went to get the endorsement of like the Detroit Lions before he was just like,
I think you're
I need
exactly
a
right.
cost-effective, like actual what this, what the plan? Give me the plan. They always want to know the plan.
Right. Honestly, I don't watch Shark Tank enough to know, but I literally saw that in an episode where I was like,
Were you just
banana
flipping
stem
channels?
covers.
Why were you watching it?
I want to say it was a clip on TikTok. TikTok gives
That
me
makes sense.
it gives me the weirdest algorithm sometimes.
Look
where
at
it
me,
get-
dude.
yeah.
I was saying flipping channels. Like, how
Right.
many people have cable and are sitting back and flipping channel? I guess if you're in a hotel.
Showing your age. We were born in the 80s.
Oh, don't tell our secrets, you son of a bitch.
Oh, yes. All of your secrets will be known to our audience. That's right.
Well, that's true because we're the generation where we put all our secrets online, whether it was Facebook or LiveJournal and Dead Journal. And then now is the generation of people who can dig up all those secrets. So you're right. We're pretty much open books, whether we like it or not.
My dead journal still exists. I remember I typed it in years back and it came up.
I wonder who hosts that. Like, is the server ever going to go down, or is it just one of those things that is just owned by a big enough company that it's going to be there forever?
Probably like owned by a company that's been owned by another company and another over the years. And now it's just kind of part of like that weird realm of the internet.
There's a version of us that exists like in Tron in the computer internet world.
It's just, I think there is a lot of just there's so much sediment. There's so much in the internet of just stuff of the past.
Well, that's fine, because I want to dig up some information, or like, is my permanent record, like, what was my third grade report card? Can I get that? I mean, yeah, I guess I can contact the school. That's a bad example. But like, I made videos when I was a kid before YouTube was up, and when you uploaded those things, you had to like it was this whole big process. I don't even remember how it was, because I think my dad helped me, but you had to upload it from from a QuickTime file, and you had to, it was a whole thing. So I have these videos that I don't know if they exist somewhere in the metadata out there, Ryan.
Like I said, I really think that there are some things that will just be there forever. It's like you can't access it. Like you can find it, you could view it and read it, but you can't like edit it. You can't sign back in. Like those things don't even exist. Like, but it's just there. It's
Somebody
so
would probably, like, I bet there's some hacker out there, we call him Lord Internet. He can find anything. He is the private eye of the internet. He goes down, he hunts down, he finds those nudie photos, he finds those TikToks, he finds those MySpaces. Why were you not in my top 5, you son of a bitch?
The top 5.
And then they expanded it to a top 10, and I remember all of us were all like, oh, yeah, catering to the people who were in the top 5.
But then it's like, but I wasn't like the first of your 10. You had me like the 8th of your 10. So does that mean I'm only 8th special to you, Joe?
See, all this thing about the kids dealing with Instagram and all the influencers, we had it too. It was just a little different. Like, we really did. Like, me and you were in a fight because you had my girlfriend higher in your top 10 than you had me. By the way, if you guys don't know, on your profile, you had your closest friends right there on there, and it was originally a top 5 and then top 10. So you could organize the people who you want displayed on your page as your top friends.
And the only difference between MySpace really and Facebook is the option to scroll through recent postings. On MySpace, you had to click on their profile, and you could look through their profile and see what they have posted. The difference now is they just found a way to make the timeline.
I'm sure there's a lot of differences, but I got to be honest, I don't remember. Like, when we were in high school, there's a lot of things that I don't really remember what we did, but I know we did it. Like, we used to download.
We knew how to code.
Yeah, well, I just remember doing a lot of things that I have no idea how we did. Like, Kazaa and Morpheus and Napster,
LimeWire,
LimeWire, all the downloading movies and all that other stuff.
Wasn't that called file sharing?
Yeah, I don't even know how we did that.
It was called, I believe it was called file sharing, and it was like a weird thing. It was like before, I think it was, I'm probably going to butcher this. If someone knows more than me, you're welcome to message us and correct me, but that was like before the time of torrents, because now you use a torrent.
No, because it was downloading torrents when we were doing it, or when I did it. Yeah, well, because, dude, this is dating the situation. I was a midnight security guard at the Henry Ford, and I used to watch movies while I was sitting in the parking lot waiting for cars to come in, because you got to stay awake. And, my PSP, that's right, I had a PlayStation Portable.
Oh
I,
man,
I was able to torrent things on my PSP, so I could
I remember.
I would torrent movies, put them on, I think on a memory card or whatever, and then put that memory card in my PSP, and I could watch movies at work on my PSP because this is before smartphones.
I was gonna say, I remember thinking that was groundbreaking at the
Yeah,
time. I was
it's
like,
like,
no way,
we figured it out, guys.
because everybody else had to either have like a big bulky laptop or they had these weird DVD players with a little screen that was
Yeah,
horrible.
it looked like a tiny laptop. Yeah.
and it was terrible. Like the quality was always awful.
Well, that was like the portable CD player of DVD players.
I mean, it was useful. At
Look
the
at
time.
us talking about physical media.
I know. Well, I miss it, and that's why we always, whenever we talk about physical media, I say that's why it's funny that we see cassette tapes coming back, records are coming back.
Well, records make sense because there's an actual sound, but cassette tapes, I don't get why they would come
Because
back.
the sound quality is absolutely atrocious on a tape. I don't care how well you do it.
Well, not just that, but most tapes, like the electric, how they make the tapes, it degrades. It's not as good over time. So the older a tape is, the less it the worse it plays, I should say.
It's just become a novelty. Like I know a lot of bands that they release their new album, they'll stream it obviously everywhere. They'll release music videos or whatever. But when it comes to physical media, they just do throwback. They'll do cassette tapes. Like they'll make it like look cool. It'll be like green plastic or something. Or
I mean, I do kind of get that, dude, because I bought the 90s tour of the Ninja Turtles coming out of their shell on eBay. I bought like a $10 unopened cassette tape, and I'm never even going to play it. So
I've got a few.
I got a few. Yeah.
I have a few cassette tapes. I got an unopened from a local band that no one will ever recognize, but I'll drop the name Factory 81.
Factory 81. Yeah, I don't know that band.
And it was
But to be fair, it could be a famous band. I wouldn't know it.
What was funny is I mentioned it. I don't know why. I guess I apparently they're stuck in my head. I mentioned it at a show I was at recently when I went to see the Eclectic, and this one dude was like, "Holy shit, Factory 81! I know Factory 81!" And it was just like a funny moment where we all just were like, that band," because they honestly played a ton of shows. I remember they played at St. Andrews Hall, and I remember the place erupting, and they were just a local band. I remember the singer climbed up the speakers onto the balcony and jumped into the pit.
You got to give the guy balls because you're trusting the people in there are going to catch you. And if it's a local show, there's not that many people.
No, it was packed.
Oh,
this
it's packed?
This
All
was
right.
back in the day. Like I'm talking
When
this was
people cared.
This was back in like 2000, 2001, right around then. And, and I'm telling you, and that is true. I'm not going to say like that when people cared or anything. It was just, I feel like American culture when it comes to shows has really changed, over the years.
Well, there's a couple reasons why. I mean,
Many reasons.
COVID would be a big one because
Yeah.
everyone, I don't have to explain. I don't have to explain COVID, but also, there's a lot of fucking shootings at concerts now, man.
And it was, you're right. And it was in there, and it's been happening for way too long. But I was going to say, even before COVID, because I've been to many shows. I remember going to shows at Harpo's where it didn't matter who was playing. The place was packed. It didn't matter. Like you were going to a show, if there was like one national band and all the rest were, local headliners or what, local openers, the place was packed. Like it didn't matter. Like, cause people supported, people went out and not even support, people legitimately used to always want to go out. And I think with rise of crime, rise of violence.
Well, it's also just the technology. I mean, let's be honest. I don't need to lecture anyone here, but they're more indoor kids now.
Yeah. But I tell you,
you know what I mean?
But then again, I don't want to, because I've been to shows recently where it's packed. But it depends on, we've talked before, I got the Corn show coming up. I have a feeling that's going to be sold out, and that's going to be at Pine Knob, which is enormous.
I want to see something at the amphitheater. I really do this year. I mean, because the only tickets I have is a small show called Fawn, which is a German band, and they're folky. It's fun. But I wanted to see, there was Smashing Pumpkins, really, but they were headlining, Blink-182 is headlining, as Smashing Pumpkins is just there. And I looked up tickets, and like the cheapest tickets, because it was a stadium show, it's at the Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
The cheapest tickets were like $180.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, that's getting close to par about now. I bought tickets to see Incubus and Coheed, and that's going to be at Little Caesars Arena. That'll be my first time there. I was able to get like a City Card member special or whatever, and I got on the floor, but in the back. And my tickets, I think, were about 130, give or take.
It's just a lot for a piece, and it's like, damn, I wish I went to more concerts when they were like, I remember being in high school and spending like, it was like, damn, these tickets are $40.
I remember going to see Ozfest for $35.
That's what I'm saying.
And that was like 35 awesome bands, like hard hitting, hard working, good bands.
I think I went to 2003 and 2004 Warp Tour, and it was, I don't know, like
I never got to go
like
to Warped
60
Tour.
bucks.
Dude,
I went to Warp Tour in 2004 in Chicago when I was doing the
yeah.
Columbia College Summer Institute, and then I did Warp Tour again in Detroit a year or two later. I'm not sure about.
what was your most memorable band from either one?
Well, I got to see Flogging Molly. I think was
Nice.
a big one there. And then there's wow, God, I forget the name, but there was this one band in particular that they do that song line and sinker. What you say is what you get. Dabba, 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 line and sinker.
I know the song,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
don't know who that is.
Well, anyways,
But yeah, so them.
it was like that was like one of their big first tours because they were signing their CDs. So I had a CD with all the members of the band signed it, and that was from the 2004 Warp Tour. And what, Billy Talent maybe?
Maybe. And
I don't know. But the point is, that was cool. I wish I still had that CD. I have a lot of collectibles I wish I had. I had this big book of The Crow signed by like 15 authors. That's not important. All right. I sold that. I sold that to Big Ben's Comics, and I sold it to them cheap. And then they resold it for like $200. And that's why I have a grudge against Big Ben's Comics. And you
Makes
should
sense.
go to
Green
Brain Comics on Michigan Avenue in
Yeah.
Dearborn, Michigan.
And we are not sponsored by Green Brain. We just love them. But it's funny that you bring up meeting artists, right? It's funny you did, because I literally was just thinking the other day about how many artists have I met that I've like completely forgot. I had Lamb of God. I met all of Lamb of God. I had them all sign it. I met Lacuna Coil. I didn't meet Shagrath from Dimmu, but like I stood at the table and like watched him sign stuff.
Laguna Coil is a good one.
Yeah, and I got to meet Rob Zombie and like talk to him for a bit. That was the Night of Merry Mayhem tour with Ozzy Osbourne. I got to meet Mudvayne a couple times.
Ooh, I like that one.
Like it's funny. Like,
Mudvayne was my high school medal.
well, and that's kind of part of a change of the times as well of what we're talking about here, because back then, if you bought a CD, physical media, at the merch table, a lot of times they would give you a wristband, and then there was a meet and greet where you could meet them and they would sign your CD that you just bought.
Yeah, usually I remember that being like a little bit extra. Like you'd buy your ticket and then for like a $40 extra or something, you got to do that. But I might be thinking later.
Certain shows, yeah. It depends on the artist, of course. Yeah, because that's when they started doing those packages.
Sure.
Yeah, they started adding that on as like for more money. Yeah, they figured out, wow, we could be making more money. But at the time, they were using it to sell albums. Because like, hey, if you buy our album, we'll sign it for you. And they just sat at the table, you know.
Well, a lot of people did that. Like not just music artists. Bruce Campbell from the Evil Dead, like Groovy, that guy.
Oh yeah.
The Chin.
Well, yeah.
Well, he was basically he had a book, Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way, and you got to go. So I went there. I believe it was in Salt Lake City, and I got to see Bruce Campbell, and he did a premiere for his film called The Man with the Screaming Brain. And we watched the film, and then you could buy his book, and then he signed his book. And it was this really, really fun event. But it just, I felt bad because Bruce Campbell, I don't know if he was having a bad day or if there was just too many people, but he just didn't seem very into it. He was just like, oh, yeah, cool. Yep. Well, thank you. Have a good one. And he wasn't rude. It seemed very, like next.
I could see that
next,
being very overwhelming.
Next. Yeah, I bet it would be.
But yeah, it's so funny. And because you meet all these people, you go to a lot more conventions than me.
Ooh,
So
I love conventions.
you've
Pop
met-
culture, man.
I'm looking at pictures of you with tons of different people and stuff like that, in like the UFO community and stuff that you've been to.
That's true. I have 2 copies of Chariots of the Gods written by Eric Von Daniken. 2, man. And then I have a bunch of books of David Childress, and he signed those as well.
And I'm looking at a picture with you with your arm around him.
Oh, yeah. Eric Von Daniken. And he was in his 80s, and he's still alive, thank God. But I'm really happy I got a picture with him. It's the same reason why I'm excited for the Motor City Comic Con, because I'm going to get a photo with me, my wife, my son, and William Shatner.
So epic, dude. So
Captain
epic.
Kirk.
It doesn't get any better. It really doesn't. Okay, it could get better. Mark Hamill.
Okay, fair enough.
Mark Hamill would
Fair
win.
enough. No offense, but we are more Star Wars than Star Trek. Although I will say Star Trek does great TV and great movies, and I think Star Wars lately, mind you, is doing really good TV and okay movies.
Yeah.
You know, I'd
And-
like to see the movies take more precedence in the future.
I honestly believe this, that Wrath of Khan is probably one of the best sci-fis ever made.
Oh, you're not alone.
Like, I cried. That movie got me. That movie actually got me. I remember watching that, like when
Spoiler?
yeah, I don't.
Is
I
it a
mean, it's
spoiler
only
when
in, like, an
40
80-year-old
year-
movie.
Yeah, it's like a 40-year-old. Yeah, where Spock dies.
Yeah. Well, it was really well done for frickin' like if you've slept on it, watch it. It's so worth it.
Oh yeah, the original Star Trek films are really good. But you know, here's the thing: if you watch any old stuff, you gotta realize the time it was shot in, and it's not as fast paced and actiony as movies are today. And that goes for all movies. Like the classics. If you watch Citizen Kane or Casablanca, by today's standards, a lot of people would be bored. So if you haven't seen these older movies and you are on the younger side, just keep that in mind and try to enjoy it for what it is. Think of it like you're watching a play, maybe. Whatever you need to do, just realize that there's a difference in sci-fi, and especially Star Trek. Star Trek is always very intellectual.
Yeah, and it was very ahead of its time. They were guessing stuff that no one else had guessed before. They were coming up with shit.
Next Generation showed an iPad, and we have iPads. Just saying,
Yep.
future, man.
Yep, and Star Trek had the FaceTiming, right?
Yeah.
Because they would always FaceTime with whatever ship they were flagging. What is it? Isn't that what there is? I forget.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I watched those, but I did watch the whole original Star Trek series, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, you have to take into account, of course, it's literally where the term campy came from. Was from Star Trek.
You know what? Perhaps. Oh, and one other thing, and we're done.